Three things you probably didn't know about the European Union. Carlo Altomonte, I'm a professor of European Economic Policy at Bocconi University. You often hear that the European Union has no resources or not enough resources to deal with the green and digital transition. But this is not true for maybe three facts that you didn't know. Number one, 5 of the 8 supercomputers in the world are in the European Union. One is in Italy. Number 2, there are 30 trillion of euros in cash sitting on the European citizens' bank accounts waiting to be invested. This is a lot of money. It only requires the appropriate channels and the appropriate rules at the European level for investing them. Number 3, the European Union invests every year from private companies 2.4 trillion of euros. If only 15% of this private investment can be channeled into green investment, we will be entirely paying our green transition for everyone. So don't come up to me and say the European Union has no resources. We have the resources, we don't have the will, but that's another story. First, you might not be aware, but the European Union deals with 50% of the total legislation of a single country, 70% of the legislation when it comes to business and consumer rights. So if you want to know about your rights, you should vote for that European Parliament. Number 2, the European Union is at the forefront in the fight against climate change. This Parliament will have a fundamental role in driving all the legislation that will lead to concrete climate action in a number of different fields, from cars to buildings to power generation. Number 3, as you know, the European Union is surrounded by crisis areas. That means that this European legislation has to deal with a number of issues in security and defense. And if you want that your voice counts, you better go and vote. First, the European Union will be working with power generation. We have to turn the generation of electricity from fossil fuels into renewables. There are money already in the ground, there are investment plans, investing into solar plants, windmill plants, biofuels, all those sorts of investments, and the accompanying legislation is about to be brought forward, and that will start having an impact on the way we produce electricity and the way we turn fossil fuels into renewables, with a goal of abating 55% of our carbon emission by the year 2030. Number 2, transport. As you know, a large emission comes from transport vehicles, cars, planes, and ships. The European Union is moving towards turning all those transportation means into climate neutral vehicles. Therefore, we will ban internal engine cars from the year 2032, 2035. We will make ships not using fossil fuels anymore, but probably hydrogen, and we will probably use biofuels for planes. i.e., the entire transport sector will be interested by concrete changes over the next 10 years. Number 3, buildings. Buildings are a powerful source of emissions in the sense that in order to light and warm up buildings, you need a lot of electricity, you need a lot of energy. If we can make buildings more efficient in terms of energy saving, we can reduce our consumption of energy and we can use the renewables for other sources of industrial uses. So we have to turn our buildings into efficient, green-preserving environments. That requires that we have to change our windows, change our walls, and we have to invest money into that. The European Union is preparing the legislation for that, but is also working in order to find the money available for citizens and for companies to go on in these important changes.